The American people don't realize it because the American people haven't been told. This has been kept from them. And they're sitting, these foreign actors are sitting right now. They're sitting in our telecom system, in our exchanges. What are we going to do to get them out of there and protect the American people who right now are sitting ducks? And frankly, they haven't been told the truth.
Yeah, Senator, I think that is correct. I think you're right that the American public is largely unaware of the scale of this issue. This is not an IT issue. This is an operational issue. It manifests in real life, and it has real, potentially life and death consequences. And as I've said over and over again, they are targeting the most vulnerable among us, along with our telecom system. Volt Typhoon was critical infrastructure. They are squatting on our system. It is imposing, as I've said, a strategic dilemma on us, and that behavior needs to change. And in order to do that,
America's critical infrastructure is under attack, and most people don't even know it. Senator Josh Hawley just sounded the alarm about foreign hackers already inside our telecom systems, threatening hospitals, communications, and even national security. The scariest part? The American public hasn't been told the full story. Let me break down what's happening, why it matters, and what's really at stake.
Mr. Cairncross, let me just start with you, if I could. One of the most pressing, but I think also one of the most overlooked vulnerabilities when it comes to our national cybersecurity posture is the crisis facing our rural hospitals. And I say this as somebody in a state where 40% of the hospitals in Missouri are rural hospitals. Many of these hospitals have no full-time cybersecurity personnel. They can't afford it. They don't have the personnel for it. They don't have the budget for it, and that makes them easy targets for cyber criminals, for ransomware gangs, and even sometimes for nation-state actors. And as you can appreciate, when these hospitals are attacked, it's not just their IT systems that go offline. It's cancer treatments, it's surgeries that gets canceled, it's emergency care that gets disrupted. So let me just ask you, are you familiar generally with this issue and the plight that rural hospitals face in this regard?
I am, Senator, and I was saying earlier, these criminals and our enemies are targeting the most vulnerable Americans, and it's got to stop.
First up, our rural hospitals. Hawley started by exposing a massive vulnerability. In Missouri, nearly 40% of hospitals are rural. Most have no cybersecurity staff, no budget, and no resources to defend themselves. That makes them sitting ducks for ransomware gangs and even state-sponsored hackers. When these hospitals get hit, it's not just tech going down, it's cancer treatments canceled, surgeries delayed, emergency care disrupted. Hawley demanded answers on how these institutions can be protected. The response? Collaboration is necessary, but the threat is already overwhelming.
Let me ask you, how would you use your position to help shore up the cyber defenses of rural hospitals and the broader healthcare sector's vulnerability in critical infrastructure when it comes to this issue?
Sure. The first thing is getting my feet on the ground, working with you, working with all your offices in your states to ensure that I'm hearing and understand what those needs are. And then I'm using, if I'm confirmed, the position as the lead coordinator for the U.S. government's cyber policy to make sure that they have the defenses that they need.
Good. Well, let me tell you about something that we've been doing on our end. Last Congress, this committee unanimously advanced my bipartisan bill, the Rural Hospital Cybersecurity Enhancement Act. Ranking Member Peters and I co-sponsored it with many others on this committee. It directed the development of a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy for rural hospitals. It would also have directed instructional materials and resources to be made available to these hospitals because, again, they don't have the budget for consultants. They don't have the budget for people to come in and do this for them. Does that sound like the kind of approach that you would be willing to work with us on?
It does, and I look forward to working with you and your team on it.
Fantastic. Well, I'll take you up on that. I think it's absolutely vital for my state and for the many, many rural hospitals in my state.
So what's being done? Hawley's pushing his bipartisan bill, the Rural Hospital Cybersecurity Enhancement Act. It's designed to give rural hospitals real tools and resources. No overpriced consultants, no tech jargon, just the basics they need to defend their patients and data. The message is clear. Underfunded doesn't have to mean undefended. But here's where it gets even more alarming. Foreign hackers are already inside America's telecom systems. Hawley says members of Congress are being told to assume their phone calls, texts, even voicemails are monitored by foreign actors. And it's not just lawmakers. Ordinary Americans are at risk too. Foreign hackers are squatting inside U.S. networks, recording and collecting our data, while we remain in the dark.
Let me shift gears a little bit and talk about foreign hackers in a different context. The threat that's already inside the wire, where state-sponsored cyber actors embedding themselves in our infrastructure systems. We have been told we already have in our telecom system. This is the Salt Typhoon issue. We already have hackers who are embedded. In your assessment, how vulnerable are our critical systems to these kind of state-sponsored infiltration campaigns?
Well, Senator, what I was saying is these attacks are scaling up and they're becoming more sophisticated. And so what really is key, since so much of cyber defense falls on the private sector in our country, is a great relationship between the United States government and the private sector. And that involves going to them and listening and figuring out what is the barrier to a smooth and efficient and effective defense. And in some cases, that is working on a regulatory scheme that makes sense. It's incentivizing information flow, and it's using the comparative advantage of the United States government, which can illuminate the battlefield for the private sector and leveraging those assets.
Experts admit the public barely knows the scale of the infiltration, and the attacks are only getting smarter. The real challenge? Much of our cyber defense depends on private companies. That means we need government and industry working together, fast.
Let me just ask you about what can be done in the way of remediation, which is kind of a fancy word for kicking these foreign actors out of our telecom system. I don't think the American people realize, in fact, I'm sure they don't realize the extent to which our current telecom system has been deeply compromised. I mean, I'll just tell you, members of Congress were told a year ago now, not even a year ago, that we should just expect that our telephone conversations, any unencrypted text messages are being monitored constantly by foreign actors. Our voice messages may well be read, and that's not because there's special access to members of Congress. It's just because that's where foreign actors would choose to concentrate. If a foreign actor chose to concentrate on any member of the audience here, what we were told, behind closed doors, of course, but what we were told is that foreign actors basically have unlimited access to our voice messages, to our telephone calls. This is astounding, and the American people don't realize it because the American people haven't been told. This has been kept from them. And these foreign actors are sitting right now. They're sitting in our telecom system, in our exchanges. What are we going to do to get them out of there and protect the American people who right now are sitting ducks, and frankly, they haven't been told the truth?
Yeah, Senator, I think that is correct. I think you're right that the American public is largely unaware of the scale of this issue. This is not an IT issue. This is an operational issue. It manifests in real life, and it has real, potentially life and death consequences. And as I've said over and over again, they are targeting the most vulnerable among us, along with our telecom system. Volt Typhoon was critical infrastructure. They are squatting on our system. It is imposing, as I've said, a strategic dilemma on us, and that behavior needs to change. And in order to do that, I believe we should begin to impose strategic dilemmas on our adversaries in this domain.
Well, that would certainly be a good start. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The big question, will America push back and kick these hackers out? And at what cost? Hawley's warning is clear. America is a sitting duck, and ordinary people are paying the price. From rural hospitals to national networks, the threat is already inside, and the time to act is right now. Is the government doing enough to protect us? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this eye-opening, hit like, and make sure to subscribe to Hot News Today. Stay alert, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.